All right, welcome everyone to the University Informational Webinar for the 2024 Fellowship for Equitable Development with NCRC. Thank you for joining us here today. Just a quick note in case there are any graduate students on the line, this webinar is geared specifically towards universities and our partnership with them. So feel free to listen in, but just know that that content will be kind of directed to them. And we recommend that you instead, or in addition to, ask your university to reach out to us at impact@ncrc.org, or for your university to visit our fellowship webpage so that they can partner with us and give you that opportunity through the partnership. So just wanted to flag that before we get started here. And with that, some quick housekeeping items. First, as I mentioned, this webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be available on the fellowship homepage following the presentation. So you're welcome to review it there as well. In addition, if there are any questions during the session, please feel free to add those in the chat. And at the end, we will have time to address those questions. And we'll be sharing our follow-up information as well in case you have any questions that come about after the session. And lastly, you'll notice here on the slide, we have some essential links for you all. The first is our NCRC website, and the second is our fellowship homepage, which you can see there. You can also easily locate it on your browser. If you search Fellowship for Equitable Development and NCRC, it will pop right up. But that is where we'll be posting a lot of information as well. So we recommend you check out those links. To provide some background about NCRC, we are the National Community Reinvestment Coalition, and we are a nonprofit network organization of over 700 members. We have a wide variety of focuses, from housing counseling to health equity to research, et cetera. And a lot of these areas, right, are really under one umbrella and one purpose and mission of moving towards a just economy and building wealth in underserved communities across our nation. So the Fellowship for Equitable Development is one of NCRC's offerings to move those mission goals forward. The agenda for today, we will be beginning with some community impact team introductions. We will be talking about the fellowship, the specific role of universities, and some of the benefits to fellows through this program. We'll be sharing some examples of past fellowship projects, and we'll also be going over the fellowship timeline for this 2024 cohort. We'll be talking specifically about the brief university application, and then of course there'll be time at the end for some Q&A. So your community impact team with NCRC, my name is Laura Bentley, and I am the Director of Grant Administration here. I'm joined on this presentation by Luis Ortiz, who is our Senior Grant Specialist with the Community Impact Department. We are the department at NCRC that will be administering this program, and so we'll be working closely with universities, with hosts, and with fellows to make sure that this program is rewarding, valuable, and successful. So looking forward to getting to know you all. About the fellowship in general, this is our third year of the fellowship program, so we're really excited to see it bud and grow and continue in years to come. The goal of this program is to cultivate the next generation of community development leaders and empower them with the skills and experience to tackle the issues that will be facing the community and the industry, both today and tomorrow. And so we do this by providing them real-world experience in the industry through partnerships with our NCRC members. So we provide a 9-month paid fellowship that matches graduate students with our NCRC member organizations, our host organizations, to work together on community development projects that may cover, for example, climate resilience, affordable housing, food and water security, health equity, wealth building, really a wide range of issues that these organizations are facing on a day-to-day basis and could really benefit from that collaboration with a fellow. One thing to note is that this program does have a specific number of eligible geographies. So we have different focuses throughout the nation, But it is important to note that your university must be located within these geographies or within 1 hour of travel of the target geography for the Fellowship for Equitable Development. And these geographies are listed in the bullet points here. They're also available on the fellowship homepage and in the application. And the purpose of this distance requirement is really to make sure that the fellowship is valuable for these fellows. The fellows will have an in-person placement with hosts in these geographies, and we want to ensure that they're able to maximize that experience, be able to make those connections and experience the true day-to-day activities of that organization and not have distance be a barrier later on in the fellowship. So we do invite you to review those target geographies. Some are states, some are specific cities, and some are metro areas to ensure that your university falls within the boundaries of the target geographies. To highlight a little bit of the fellowship application process, we will be talking later in the presentation about the specific timelines, et cetera. But to give you a high-level overview, there are two specific points in time when we really are looking for the precise action and involvement of the universities, and you can see those highlighted in the darker blue. So the way this process will work is that we'll start with the university applications to basically enter our partnership roster. And this is the application period that will be going on from May 13th through the 24th. So universities will complete a brief application. Following that application period, we will be inviting our NCRC members to apply with specific fellowship projects around June of this year. We will be looking at those projects, evaluating them, and selecting up to 25 fellowship opportunities. And we'll be sharing those fellowship opportunities with the partnered universities in the target geographies. The universities will then conduct their own internal selection process to select a fellow who best matches with the selected host project. And at that point in time, NCRC will review and approve that student match. And then we will really take it from there in administering the fellowship program. So you see that we will complete the onboarding for the host organization and the now fellow, your university student. And the fellowship will then begin at the beginning of September of this year and go through May of 2025. And again, that will be something that NCRC will be administering and maintaining kind of the pulse on that fellowship between the host and the student. So that's kind of a high-level summary of what the process is and those really main points of contact with the university and where we're looking for your explicit partnership is on those two areas highlighted in the dark blue. So to get a little bit more into the details of that partnership, again, we will be running a competitive application process for our own membership organizations, be selecting about 25 of those fellowship projects. And some of the expectations that we just want to clarify for universities is first that we will be expecting universities to lead in that internal selection process within their university to select the student that matches the host project. We will be providing some selection guidance to assist you all with that process. And really what we're looking for is that the selected fellow is selected based on their skills, their experience, their passion, and how those factors align to the selected host project. We also expect that universities explore if the student can receive academic credit for this fellowship, and that the universities assist the student and NCRC with that process of getting the academic credit applied if that's applicable. We're really excited for this program to be of a great benefit to your students. So we understand that academic credit can also be a strong benefit as well. So we're excited and thank you for the exploration to see if that's possible. We also want to clarify that partnering universities are not expected to manage, track, or monitor the student during the fellowship. So again, NCRC will be administering that relationship between the fellow and the host once that fellowship gets kicked off. And so that's not an expectation that we have of the university. Universities are also not expected to administer the stipend to the student. That is also something that NCRC will take care of for this process, and we will collaborate between the host and the fellow to provide that stipend directly to the fellow. We also would like to clarify that universities are not expected to report to NCRC outside of those two darkened phases that I highlighted on the previous slide, which is really in this initial application process. We're looking for your assistance in selecting qualified candidates. So beyond the application to partner that will take place starting May 13th, and the selection of the recommended student, that is the only kind of effort that we're asking of universities. There's no additional reporting. We're hoping that this will be something that's streamlined and beneficial to everyone and doesn't add any extra burden. So I would like to pass it over now to my colleague Luis, who is going to talk a bit about the benefits to fellows of this program that we're really excited to share with you all.
Thanks, Laura. Good afternoon, everyone. Just wanted to start with some benefits to the fellows. Obviously, they're going to be receiving training and support from our NCRC member host organization, who these organizations are leaders in the nonprofit, government, and community development fields. They'll get direct mentorship from these seasoned professionals and will provide fellows with real-world insights and perspectives that will prepare them for impactful roles as they begin their careers. Laura also mentioned the stipend. There's going to be a $20,000 stipend for the 9-month fellowship. This is a part-time fellowship with a maximum of 20 hours per week for the fellow, so that they can also focus on their studies. And our host organizations are aware that this is no more than a 20-hour per week fellowship, so that they aren't assigning work over those 20 hours. We'll also, and ideally, we would love for the fellows to get academic credit for this fellowship when the policies exist with the university, and the university allows for that. So we'll be speaking with the universities directly to see if that is a possibility. Also, we wanted to mention that the fellows will have admission to the actually admission, lodging, and transportation to the NCRC Just Economy Conference. This is a 2-day event with sessions on pressing industry topics. We just had our conference this April. We had over 40 breakout sessions with about 140 speakers in those sessions. This is calculated at about a $1,700 value, and this is on top of great learning experience and networking opportunities that are provided at the conference. Go to the next slide, Laura. We also wanted to give you a little bit of examples, some examples of projects that are currently being worked on by our current cohort of fellows that are actually finalizing these projects in May, in the coming week or so. Starting with Community Reinvestment Alliance of Florida. They have a fellow by the name of Raymond who is conducting research on CRA officers in Florida and has created a CRA database that is being used to kind of keep track of who is overseeing the banks in their particular areas. He's also researching banks and the products and services that are offered and who they're the demographics of who they're serving. We also have the Washington Area Community Investment Fund here in DC. Geneva is working with WASIF, and she's been assigned to their development team. She's actually working on developing capital products tailored to reduce greenhouse emissions for small businesses. Geneva has shared with us that she was able to meet with all of the departments within WASIF, so she was very happy that she was able to get an inside view from on how CDFIs work. So she was very happy with her experience, and shared a lot of positive information with us. We also have Impact Brooklyn out of Brooklyn, New York, obviously. Nagazi is the fellow working, and she served as an an asset management assistant, and conducted site visits and analysis on the financial performance of affordable housing projects. She mentioned that her fellowship also includes training and technical assistance classes from Enterprise Asset Management University. So as you can see, these projects vary in scope, but fellows get hands-on experience with real world projects. And we have received overwhelmingly positive feedback from both fellows and hosts on this fellowship experience. Just going into the timeline of this fellowship, we will be opening the university application period on May 13th. You will be receiving an email from us with a link to our application portal, which is called submit.com, where you will be able to complete your application. We try to make the application short and sweet and to the point so that it doesn't take a lot of time to complete. We recognize that you guys have a busy schedule, so this would be an application that can probably be completed in one sitting, and I would say, what, Laura, no more than 15, 20 minutes to complete it, that. And the application will be due by the 24th of May. And then in June and July, we will solicit, review, and select projects from our host organizations, which we will then send projects to the selected universities so that you can make your selection of your fellow recommendations. And in August, the fellowship agreement will go out to the selected fellows, with the start date of the fellowship of September 9th, 2024, going through May 9th of 2025.
Thanks, Luis. So we wanted to also get the opportunity to discuss with you and share some of the university application questions that will be on there, or really the full content. We're not trying to keep any secrets here. So again, this application will be due between May 13th and May 24th. It will be open from 10 a.m. on the 13th through 5 p.m. on the 24th. And we did want to note that if you have a university, for example, with separate specific schools that have students in the appropriate focus areas, but are very kind of differentiated by the school, and where you would expect to have a different point of contact, from one school to the next, we do understand that that could be the situation of your university. And so in that case, please feel free to submit separate applications for the different schools as needed. And so in that case, if a project from a host is selected in your university's geography, we will share that with the appropriate points of contact for the different schools, as well as the piece of information of how many fellows that project would require. And then we can allow you to give back again that best recommendation of what fellow or fellows makes sense for the project. We did want to highlight that. Again, the goal of this application is really to get a read on university's experience and capacity for assisting us in this fellowship process, to make sure that the process for students, for selected fellows, for hosts, and universities itself is smooth and streamlined. So we appreciate your input in this application. The elements that will be part of the application, the first is we will ask you to please describe really the main academic majors or focuses of the majority of your students. This will also give you the opportunity to name if you are applying as a specific school within a university, and to just give the description of what that differentiation is. Secondly, you will be asked to select from a drop-down menu if your university is, for example, a historically Black college and university, a Hispanic serving institution, another type of minority serving institution, or a non-minority serving institution. It is not a requirement that you be a minority serving institution, but we do ask for that information in the application. The next piece of information that we will be requesting is your university address, and there will be a drop-down selection for the target geography from that same list that I shared earlier of about 30 target geographies across the US. We wanted to note in this session to please put the university address where the majority of the students would be taking classes or residing. So again, if you are applying on behalf of a particular school or a satellite location, please add the address of that location, not, for example, the headquarters that could be in a different state or city. So please put the address that's relevant to the students who would be selected for the fellowship. And again, the reason for this in the target geography is just to ensure that students are located close enough to their fellowships to really be able to benefit from that in-person experience and fully engage. The next thing that we'll be requesting is an application point of contact. So this is the person who is actually submitting the form, just in case we have any follow-up questions from the form submission. Next, we'll be requesting a fellowship point of contact. So this person will be the direct point of contact for the basically live responsibilities and relationship for this program between the university and NCRC. So this should be a person who does have direct relationships with students or the ability to run a successful internal application or selection process and be able to select an appropriate student to pair with the projects. We will then ask that you describe the fellowship point of contact's experience administering fellowships or similar opportunities, just again to gauge what their capacity is and their internal skill set. And second to last, we will be asking for you all to describe the specific process that you will implement for selecting the fellow recommendation to match with the selected host project. And we do want to flag, as you saw with Luis's shared timeline, that this will be a 3-week window that we'll provide with universities. So we'll provide the full host project explanation, day-to-day activities, etc. And the university would have 3 weeks to conduct their internal selection and bring back the recommendation. So we just want to be very transparent with that and make sure that universities are prepared and have an anticipated process that they're able to roll out in order for that to be smooth and successful on their end and ensure that the program stays on schedule. And lastly, in the application, you'll be asked to describe the academic credit. If you foresee that there can be academic credit provided for the fellowship, and if so, what would be the process that NCRC or the host organization would need to carry out in order to ensure that the fellow received that academic credit. And that is the content of the application. So again, many of these are drop downs and addresses, and the questions that we are hoping for your more detailed input are ones that we hope are not too much of a lift, but also will serve us well, ensuring that we have strong partnerships for this program once it gets rolling. And as we're coming to our Q&A portion here, I wanted to just flag again some key dates. So regarding the university application, as we've mentioned, this will open on May 13th at 10 a.m. It will close May 24th at 5 p.m. This is an online submission, so it will close automatically. And the application link will be posted on the fellowship homepage. We're about to show that link again, and we will add it to the chat. But just bear in mind that you'll go to that homepage, and that's where the link will be to access the application, as well as a lot of information regarding the fellowship. And lastly, we'll leave this slide up as we're looking into the Q&A. But again, if you have any questions throughout this process or after the session, please feel free to email us at impact@ncrc.org. You can also schedule some office hours with us via the Calendly link that's shown below. This is during the application period, basically from it opens till closes. If you have any questions or you feel like you have a nuanced situation with your university, we're happy to chat with you and try to figure that out. So please feel free to schedule there as needed. And lastly, there's the link again to our fellowship homepage, which will have the application link, as well as the relevant information as we are publishing that about updates about the program. So I will pause there and see if there are any questions in the chat.
We do have a couple of questions, Laura. One is regarding location. Tiffany says that our university is located in rural county, and it takes 1+, I'm assuming, hour to get anywhere in Texas. However, our students are all over. Will they qualify?
I think in that case, it might be helpful, Tiffany, for you to just send us an email and we can discuss that and see your particular location. We do want to make sure that those distances are ones that students would be willing to travel. So I think that would be something that we can look at a case-to-case basis, but certainly understanding that for more rural communities, they might very much be used to or willing to travel a greater distance. We just want to make sure that
we're located in the rural, but our students are all over because we have a hybrid program. But if we submit the physical location of the institution, by definition, they won't qualify. But we have students that are in Austin and Dallas. They could get to wherever they need to go in the area. And so we have locations in Houston that take an hour in the city of Houston to get to because it's so large. So I just want to make sure, like, once, very eager to apply for this for Prairie View, but I just want to make sure that our students will have a competitive chance, because by address, Waller County knocks us out, although we have registered students in East Texas, in Austin, in Dallas, that could be considered.
Yeah, I really appreciate that comment. And definitely, I would recommend that you complete the application. And what we're able to do is we're going to be looking at this at kind of a bespoke level. And so with that piece of information that your students are widely located, we can see if, depending on where the fellowship in Texas is, if it is selected and where that might be, we can connect and find out if that's a good fit or if it's not a good fit for your student body. But that's a great kind of comment there, and thank you. And I would, again, recommend that you apply so that your university is in that roster that we can consider.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. We'll do. Thank you much.
Or there was another question about I think we just need to clarify, is this opportunity just for universities?
Yeah, so the way that the fellowship will be working this year is that we're going to have that partnership with universities, and through there we'll be selecting our graduate students. So this is kind of just to take two prongs of that question, depending on how it was intended, this is a program for graduate level students. And we are looking to make those partnerships through university connections. So if a student happens to be online today and would like to participate, first of all, we're really excited by that. So thank you for joining. And I would recommend that you reach out to your university to have that university apply so that we can then have them in the roster. So it will be not a direct application from the fellow, but rather a partnership with the university. And we will work with the university to select the fellow for the selected host project. I hope that clarifies.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Were there any other questions I had missed, Louis?
No, those are the only questions so far. Does anyone else have any other questions that we can take now? Feel free to jump off mute if you want to prefer to speak. Or you could type in the chat box. We'll maybe give another minute or so to see if we have any additional questions.
Well, we thank you so much for everyone who is on today for joining us. Again, this recording will be posted. Please feel free to reach out and chat with us if you have any further questions or questions as you begin the application. But thank you so much. We're really excited to be able to get to know you all and partner with you in this way. So thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.